If you lost everything today, money, status, network, but kept your way of thinking, how far back could you climb? It's a question that quietly underlines the difference between those who are wealthy and those who stay wealthy. The truth? Billionaires don't just have access to capital. They operate using mental models, deeply embedded ways of thinking that shape how they see problems, people, and opportunity. These aren't hacks or surface-level strategies. They're internal operating systems, invisible but incredibly powerful. And once you start to recognize them, you'll see why some people seem to always be a few steps ahead, even when the rules change. Let's explore the models that shape their decisions. Not to imitate billionaires, but to learn how to think with clarity, precision, and long-term leverage. The first mental model is second-order thinking. Most people stop at the immediate consequence. If I do X, then Y happens. But billionaires think further. If I do X and Y happens, then what happens next? It's why someone like Jeff Bezos would willingly lose billions on a long-term bet like Amazon Web Services, because he wasn't chasing short-term optics. He was thinking 3 moves ahead, anticipating the chain reactions before anyone else could see them. Second-order thinking isn't just about foresight. It's about resisting the seductive pull of short-term rewards. Next is inversion, popularized by Charlie Munger. Instead of asking, "How do I become successful?" he'd ask, "What would guarantee failure?" And then avoid those things with relentless discipline. It's a model grounded in humility. It accepts how easy it is to make mistakes and builds a mental moat by avoiding the obvious ones. Avoiding arrogance, avoiding debt, avoiding anything that makes you depend too heavily on luck. While the world obsessively chases what to do, the wisest minds often start with what not to do. The third model, the map is not the territory. This idea comes from Alfred Korzybski, but billionaires live it daily. It means that your mental representation of the world, the map, is not the actual world itself, the territory. Too many people confuse opinions for facts, or trends for truths. But people who accumulate extreme wealth tend to treat their assumptions like hypotheses, not commandments. They test ideas. They stress test strategies. They know that even their best map might need constant updates. That's why Elon Musk is obsessed with first principles. He doesn't ask what's normal in an industry. He asks, what must be true at the atomic level, and how can I build from that? This ability to detach from consensus reality is a rare but valuable edge. Fourth is leverage. Naval Ravikant popularized the idea that there are 4 types of leverage: labor, capital, code, and media. Billionaires don't work harder in the traditional sense. They engineer systems that work for them exponentially. Code scales infinitely. Media captures attention while they sleep. Capital multiplies itself. And labor, when organized effectively, becomes a force far greater than any individual. The average person trades time for money. The wealthy build engines that decouple the two. The 5th model is skin in the game, from Nassim Taleb. It means you bear the consequences of your decisions. If you win, you win. If you lose, you bleed. In a world flooded with advice from people who have nothing to lose, those with skin in the game become disproportionately trustworthy. Billionaires often operate with high conviction and deep accountability. They bet their name, their capital, and their reputation. It's why Warren Buffett famously says he wants to invest in people who eat their own cooking. Because integrity, real integrity, shows up when there's something at stake. The 6th model is compounding, but not just of money, of relationships, of knowledge, of brand equity, of trust. Compounding is the quiet force behind extraordinary results. It's why someone like Bill Gates reads for hours a day. Why top investors value long-term partnerships over transactional wins. Because compounding turns small edges into empires, if you stay patient enough to let time do its work. But compounding also requires restraint. You can't interrupt it with unnecessary changes, emotional decisions, or shiny distractions. This is where the final model comes in. Probabilistic thinking. Billionaires know there are no certainties, only probabilities. They make decisions based on expected value. Not what will happen, but what's likely to happen across many scenarios. This reduces overconfidence and increases resilience, because even the best ideas sometimes fail, and even the smartest strategies come with risk. Probabilistic thinkers don't chase being right. They optimize for being consistently wise. These 7 models, second-order thinking, inversion, map versus territory, leverage, skin in the game, compounding, and probabilistic thinking, aren't secrets. They're available to anyone. But using them? That's rare, because each one requires patience, discipline, and a willingness to think independently. The goal isn't to become a billionaire. It's to think like someone who could become one and live with the clarity, agency, and depth that mindset unlocks. So the next time you face a big decision, pause and ask yourself, what model am I using? And more importantly, what model am I missing?